Welcome to the show. Today's topic, masculine energy, or as it's better known as, alpha energy. And we'll get into the whole alpha beta, or as it's also known in the subculture or popular culture now, big dick energy. And sorry for the snicker, but every time I say that, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. But and we'll talk about it, But I hate those. I don't hate the phrases. I hate the way it's used by a lot of men uh, today, and I'm using the term men loosely. Um, so, but yeah, it's just this whole idea. Well, I don't want to get. I'm going to get into it later on in the podcast, as far as so I don't want to just give it away or start talking about it right away. So, what I want to get into is what is masculine energy, as opposed to what we are led to believe or what our idea of masculine energy is. And there's a lot of misinformation as to what it takes to be a man. And it's sad because, I go on social media and I see, old men, older than me, my age, younger men, and the points of view are just so varying, like just so wide, and it's disconcerting. It is concerning, not disconcerting. It's super concerning, because it just shows that there's either a lack of masculine energy or quote unquote alpha energy, or you have this viewpoint. And with social media and the just the accessibility to just Google and kind of find something on online or on YouTube or on Facebook or online on Twitter or etc., wherever whatever your vice is, because there's too many, Twitch and whatnot with the streaming now. Wherever you find that kind of niche, you kind of say, okay, kind of at one point, one valid point that they make, or a few, or even a lot, and you start kind of going along with that, and then you pick up that viewpoint, and then you start exercising that viewpoint, not really knowing who you are, or really knowing why you're doing what you're doing. You're just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna model myself after this person, and it's only logical, because especially as us men, we are driven to something. I just always end it to something, because you could be driven to a lot of things as being a male. And the discussion, I don't want to have a discussion about the purposes and finding whether you need, that is not, this is not the point of the podcast. And if that conversation has to be had, then I'll have that conversation. This is just but the point that I'm trying to get across is that there's just too many voices. And I could be before starting this podcast, that was one of the hardest things. I'm like, I'm over here talking about all these voices, and then I'm gonna put my voice out there along with these voices. But then the rational part of me said, yeah, but I hope that I'm putting out something that is beneficial, that will kind of take away the white noise around everything, or the static noise, whatever kind of noise around everything, and just focus males' attention, and have them be examples of what it is to be a man with masculine energy. And then that their friends see that, and then that their friends see that, and you just create this movement that could take 20-30 years to accomplish, but it could definitely be accomplished within a few years, just in your inner circle. If you do that, if you just center yourself and you just start doing it the right way, or having a masculine energy about you, without going into the whole disrespectful part, where it's the opening of this, of the whole podcast, is a lot of older and younger and my age gentlemen go and search for these, relationship coaches, life coaches. Go online and YouTube relationship advice and stuff like that. And again, you don't have to take my word for it. You could just do it on your own, and you just see and hear. There's just so many voices, so many opinions, so many. You got to be this, and what's masculine energy, what's beta energy, and top 10 reasons you're not a man. You're not, So it's like everything around you wants to tell you, like, if you don't have this, and that, you're not masculine, right? And if you do this, and this, you're beta. And it's all these kind of different things. And when I don't preach anything. I don't say, I preach. I don't preach anything. What I say to people is, like, just step back, just step back from whatever you're listening to, understand the message, and hear it. And if it somehow aligns with a part of you, cool. Take it on in, soak it. That's what we are. We're sponges. But like a sponge, it gets to get cleaned, right? You don't take on all the water because you squeeze the sponge, and some of that is going to stick around. Obviously, it's going to still stay wet. But for the most part, you're going to empty yourself out, and you're just going to retain the super, super important thing. And that's what is missing. So no one's emptying themselves. No one's just absorbing and taking out and letting the actual things that are beneficial to us, which is at the end of the day very, very small, but it builds up over time. That's what change is, right? So when you go out here and you're starting this foundation as to what does it mean to be a man, if you have a father, if you don't, there's so many variables. I believe everybody has that energy, and even women have that energy to a point, or a fake version of that. Whatever women have is a fake version of what they consider to be masculine energy, because I don't think it's possible. I mean, I don't know, with the way some women inject testosterone, maybe it's a possibility, but I think it's like a fake version of it. But because at some point, with the single mothers, they've been tricked, and so or they trick their minds to be that way, like say, like, hey, I have to be now the father and the mother, and they have to develop a sense of masculine energy, even though there's no way they could be masculine, but they develop it in their own mind. Anyways, whether, like I said, I think everybody has a version of it, but some males are getting the wrong impression of it, like it, some think it's a physical thing, like, oh yeah, I got hair on my body, and I got the the tools, the equipment to be a man, so yeah, I'm all alpha, that's what I'm hearing. And in a basic biological sense, you're completely correct and stuff like that. And you have the other ones that go more into the mental, the characteristics, how you sit, how you stand, how you talk, with this and that, and the message, like I said, it varies. It's not a select kind of a thing. And even the ones that you might start seeing like, you might do your research and you find 10 or 11 outlets that all kind of gravitate towards a message, and you're like saying, well, this has to be true, right? There's so many outlets out here that are pointing towards this one direction, and you start following that, and even then, most of those are just completely coming from a place of hurt and pain and revenge and just anger. And obviously there's a lot of that going around at any time of any decade, and it's easy to gravitate towards a message like that and be manipulated into saying, yeah, that sounds like the truth, because it's easier to always have a victim mindset, as opposed to a saying, hey, I'm a product of my own choosing, which is what a masculine trait is taking ownership of of your actions, what you do, and a lot of people don't want to do that, and a lot of people get confused, or a lot of men get confused. Not just, I don't want to generalize this because this show is about the modern male. Us males generalize it. So we when we see a big group of people hurting like us, what is that? Misery, pain loves pain. Misery loves company. Whatever you want to call it. It's easier to, I don't want to say bitch, but it's bitch about it with other, men, and call it a group, a focus group, and and all this stuff. And it's not. That's just the victim mindset, as opposed to, and none of us are exempt from this. All of us experience this to a T. My thing is that when you find a big group, and then especially us as men, when we find these large groups following one movement, we then deem to be this, the way it's going, the way it is, without, again, stepping back and seeing the broader picture as to what is being a man, and not even that, just being masculine. What does it mean to be masculine? And even the point of this show, what does it mean to be masculine in today's age? And a lot of people make all these excuses that we have to change, and I don't believe so. Because being a masculine, or quote unquote big dick energy, or quote unquote being alpha, is being a protector, being a leader, being always on the lookout, or always doing right, always acknowledging his faults, being direct, being accountable, being honest. And if I repeated some of these, I don't have anything written down, so some might be repeated, but you get the point. There's just a certain thing that you get, and when you're in that presence, and men, they know that. And you see it a lot in sports when you have men at the peakness of their athletic and physical careers. They all at some point gravitate towards, like, the quarterback in football, or the superstar in soccer, or the main dude, the high scorer in basketball, the home run hitter in baseball, and so on and so on. So even in men, even in a circle of masculine men, even those masculine men then not succumb, but then follow the lead of the most masculine men. And when you have these, that's when you hear a lot of these things where you have these fights, because one man, and it might be, a lot of people confuse it with ego. It's not. It's at the end at the core of the issue is two masculine energies colliding for supremacy. No different than when a lion gets challenged by another lion over the pride, or another gorilla fighting another gorilla for his herd and his family, and his female monkeys, or gorillas and stuff like that. Same thing with anything. That's just a biological nature of the challenge, of the warrior, of that masculine energy that just has to be let loose. And that's what we have to kind of come back to, is that it's not a bad thing to have it. Obviously, we're not animals, and we can't just go fighting people or fighting other men and say, fuck, I'm gonna take your chick and do this, and I'm gonna pop my chest and stuff like that. Like, it's not about that, because that's when you're just doing a beta move. Because one of the things is discipline with alpha males, control with alpha males, being more concerned with what's doing right, and being able to adhere to the protection of all, and of course we are a more evolved species, so of course there's going to be fundamental changes. And I hate when people attach that raw animal alphaness that I just described And again, I could have proven the same point, but it's not, because you can't just end there, because those are still primitive beings if you believe in the evolution. And if they're just the way they are, they're static beings, and they're never going to change. It's just you observe their nature and recognize the rawness of it and say, yeah, we have a lot of that in us, and stop there. And not use that as an excuse to be a way with another, with a woman, and call that, yeah, see, this is, it doesn't care. I could, go to sleep with whoever I want, do whatever I want, because it's just what, us mammals do. That's just what human nature does, and and they portray like all girls have to be just like this subservient sluts to sleep with them whenever they want, because they just have a penis, and it's just the order of things. And we have to, move away from that. So my thing is, I stop there, observe it, and then add the modern part to it, because we're evolved. We think differently. We are different than the lion, than the gorilla, than whatever male species is out there. We as humans are different. So we have to be different and think different in a masculine state of mind, in a masculine mind frame. That's when you get into the, being honest, being a leader, taking accountability for your mistakes, being repentful. And I'm not saying going and saying sorry to everybody, because at the end of the day, you could say sorry 1,000 times, but if you don't mean it, it don't mean nothing. But as a man, or having masculine energy, or alpha energy, for those that want, that's the only way you'll get it across them, is you don't go out trying to be an asshole or just a bad person. You don't go out to above and beyond to just be a certain way because you've been hurt, because an alpha male or masculine energy is coming from a place of love. And if you're not coming from a place of love, then you're not alpha, dude. You're not an alpha. You're not masculine. You're not big dick energy. You're just a rude dude pretending to be. And that's why when a girl recognizes that and she's like, dude, this dude is not alpha, and starts gravitating away from us as men, we start freaking out. We go like, oh shit, like what am I doing? As opposed to what masculine energy is supposed to do. And you can't fix that. You have to come off masculine. You have to be masculine in the truest word, in the beginning, off the bat. From the moment that she sees you, you're supposed to be genuinely masculine, exuding that energy, not being fake, not having a front, not pretending who you're not gonna be, being honest, being loyal, being direct, being assertive. That's what being masculine is, not this fake interpretation that we have nowadays, and from all these different coaches and YouTube influencers or whatever they say, as far as, oh, this is the way you got to do it. You can't open doors for women. You fuck these hoes and stuff like that. That's just the wrong way. A masculine energy is opening up the door for anyone. When you have, and this is one of the key points I want to make, when you have the bad intention, that's when it all is wrong. So a lot of people, not just these, alpha, even these betas, and again, I don't like the word, but the betas, or the less masculine ones, or the ones that have a feminine mindset, that open the door, and some call it the white knight or white knighting. Some guys call it being a gentleman, which they're using the masculine energy, and I'm alpha, and the other, but in the other way, and in a wrong way, where they're gonna overcompensate and try to be super nice, and they play it off, but they're not being genuine. They're doing it for an alternative motive. So they believe that they're courteous, and they only do it like with their date, with their girl, but they don't do it for anyone else. So like, they open the car door when they pick them up. They open the door for them at the restaurant. They pull out the chair. They pay for the dinner. Some people are calling this the simping, or whatever they call it. Whatever. But I'm not getting into that. But some call it simping. But anyway, so they do this, but they do all this gentlemanly stuff. And even if you were sharing the bill and not simping, and even if she was paying everything, and you were like, oh, being with game, and you, oh, look, she's paying for all my stuff, what, I'm a fucking alpha, man, and all that shit. If you're still doing all that other stuff, like open the doors and being a gentleman to get some action or to get in her pants, that's not, you're not being alpha. You don't have masculine energy because you're being fake. You have an alternative motive. You're not doing it to be genuine. You wouldn't do that for everyone. You wouldn't open the door for your boys. You wouldn't open the door for a stranger. You wouldn't open the door for an old person. And don't get me wrong, you might every once in a while, but most men aren't going to open the door for another man or a row of men and shit like that, because they'll be like, oh shit, look, I'm beta and shit. Like, they have an opinion of everything. Like, and so when you come off, like, you won't pay for the fucking food for your boys and shit, cause you wanted to, when you pay for, you have an alternative mode. Like, I pay for the fucking dinner, so she better give me some ass. Like, nah, that's, you have feminine energy, and you're not being genuine. So you're not an alpha. You're pretending to be an alpha, and you're just using. And that's why some girls actually think those are the worst kind, because you're giving them the illusion of being a masculine man that knows how to treat a woman. But the only reason you're doing it is to get into her pants. You're not being genuine, and trust me, they pick up on that. It's just that a lot of females are super, super lonely with the way that dating apps are now. So they're willing to put up with it, maybe saying, well, maybe I'm misjudging him. Just because the same way that men are being programmed or being misled, not programmed, that's the worst. I don't want to say that. I'm going to take that back. Not programmed, just the way we see, the way what we're watching, and how what we are being considered to be okay. That's just the way it is, and they can't help it. So the only way we're going to do it is by having masculine energy, the truest form, the truest sense, by not trying to be fake, by not trying to be someone that we're not, and having the wrong idea of what it is to be a masculine male, or alpha, or big dick energy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So when you hear these coaches online or on YouTube or a podcast or whatever you're listening to, understand that 90% of them or 80% of them are going to be coming from a place of hurt, rejection, pain. Maybe all have great intentions, but completely coming off wrong. Like I said, being a masculine, being not just in the like I said earlier, in the DNA part, where in nature. To be a modern male is to be just happy with, or being masculine, and not just modern male, but having that masculine energy while being a modern male is being genuine, being 100% genuine. And I don't mean if you're an asshole, be 100% asshole. No, if you're an asshole, you fix that, and then you become an example of what a man should do. And a man treats everyone the same, shows nothing but love, does not want to fight, does not want to agitate, is a protector, is a leader, is blunt, direct, but not in a hurtful way, but always doesn't want to sugarcoat. Though I don't want to go off in just a litany of things, because I don't want to make this too much of certain things to cross off, because it's just either you're going to develop it or you're not going to develop it. And can it be trained? Of course it can. Everything could be trained, but you have to have a conscious mind. So when you're listening to all these, advice, again, soak it in and then let everything out. And then only grab what you're going to do. But understand that if you're grabbing the asshole parts of any of this, That's not masculine. That's not being alpha. Disrespectful, like, oh, fuck these bitches, all these bitches are hoes. And oh, especially with some of the movement. And I'm not gonna get into any particular movement, but there's a lot of movements out there with, especially with us men, because we get rejected, and there's just so many females in this world, and they're single, and marriages are falling apart, and alimonies. And then now you hear all these stories. It's easy just to like something on Facebook. Next thing you know, you're getting divorces, stories, and horrible images of what women are. And then you hear music. I mean, there was that whole WAP thing with Cardi B, and people were freaking out, and I was one of them. I was like, whoa, what the hell is this that I'm listening to? But that's just the status of where we're at in society. Just a lost male and female group. Not all, but most, because there's some that have figured it out, both male and females, but but it's very few, and that's really concerning. So what is masculine energy, and why is it important? Is because everything keeps calm. Right now everybody's freaking out. You saw that with the COVID, when they started closing, people started just grabbing toilet paper and going crazy, not caring about the older generation, or even the kids for that matter. They made all these excuses to why they're panicking. And even to this day, right now, months after everything's kind of open and we're heading towards the end of the year, people are still freaking out and haven't stopped talking about it since March, when most of this stuff started happening here in the US. And having masculine energy is having a calm, saying, hey, let me calm down. Let's focus on how to, let's go from step A to step B, but let's calm down. Let's not overreact, because overreaction, we all know it, just causes for bad and incoherent, decisions that maybe then cause permanent pain forever, or temporary pain, whatever, but it doesn't lead to positive outcomes. So being masculine is having a calm about you. Like I said earlier, being authentic. And being authentic, why is it important? It's because everyone will know they could count on you, and that you're being you at all points. So if they have a question, they could come to you, and they know they're going to get a sincere answer. Whether they need advice for dating or whatever, they're going to come to you, and they're going to know that you're being genuine. If you don't like something, they're going to know you're being genuine. If you invite them somewhere, they're going to know you do it because you want to really spend time with them. They know exactly where you're coming from, so they know exactly where they stand with you. And people love that because they know exactly who you are. And again, because we start off with these fake impressions, with these, I have to show her what I want to be, not who I am. And we give off the fake impression that we are masculine when we're not masculine, and the women misread that, and then we call them names. We call them whores. And don't get me wrong, some deserve the title, deserve it. They should have crowns walking around, and just with hoes, or whatever popular culture wants to define those women. But they should, because there's some out there, just the same way that some of these men, so-called men and alpha dudes, should walk around with kings that say assholes, because a lot of them are assholes and treat women like trash and talk about women like trash. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of trash out there, and that trash needs to be called trash. Cool. But most women are not that. Most men are not that. So it's a confusion of what masculine energy is. So it's important to be authentic, opening doors, and like I said, anything that if you're getting some kind of reward from it, you're not having masculine energy. Opening the doors. It's not because you do it. It's because you would do it to your mom, to your sister. If you gave a ride to a stranger, you would get out of your car and open the door. No matter who it was, if it was a black, a Chinese, male, female, it doesn't matter. If you open the door, it's because that's what you want to do. You don't care. I open the door for everyone, and they'll see it, not because of your actions, or because, I mean, they're gonna see it because of your actions, but they'll just see it because whoever's in your life, there's gonna be moments where, you know, you're gonna do it, and they'll notice it. You don't have to say it. You just do it because you do it, and that's what you do. So you just do. The same thing with paying for dinner. Like, if you pay for food, that's just you. This whole idea of, oh, you have to, you're fake if you're putting all these restrictions on yourself because you don't want to be used. If you make the money as a man and this is what you like to do it, but do it because you want to eat, you want to have the experience, and then invite someone over if you so choose to. So if you want to go, there's this girl you're digging, and you're gonna go eat because that's what you want to fucking do, and you want this particular girl to go with you, and you call her up and she says not, and then you change your plan. You're not masculine. Because, or you cancel your plan and you don't go in, you're not masculine. You know, you're letting her dictate the fact that you wanted to go eat. You were going to go eat. You called her up, she rejected you, and now you're like, oh, well, I'm not gonna go now. So in the masculine energy, what you do, you want to go get something to eat, and you want some company. So you call her up, and she still rejects you, and you say, okay, hit me up when you want to meet up. And you go about your day, and you go and you eat. You go to the restaurant by yourself. You enjoy a dinner because the plan was to go eat. It wasn't about to invite her and go take her out to eat and whatnot. Or in the other example, what you do if you really want a female attention and you're about that life, about dating and having that experience also. I agree in this part with some of the dating, coaches or whatever the kind of lifestyle coaches, that you should be dating and have multiple women in your life. So in this last scenario, if you do the same thing, I want to go out to dinner and I want to have an experience with a female and have a female here, not focusing on a particular female, just saying, hey, I want to have something beautiful in front of me or something, whatever you deem beautiful in front of me. And you call the one that most interests you and you say, hey, I want to go get something to eat. Or, you want to come along, or whatever your pickup, you're picking up, or whatever your mojo is you use. And if she says no and rejects you, then you call another, beautiful woman, a beautiful young lady, or whatever, and whatever. you just call, another beautiful woman that you want to, that you have been dating or seeing or talking to, and you invite them. And if she doesn't, then you move on to the other one, because you're dating, you're finding other women, you're not sleeping around, you're just dating. So there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what being masculine, that it still doesn't change your plan. And at the end, you call 5 and they all say no. You should still go eat your dude. You still go eat your food because the plan was to go eat and enjoy some company, and you didn't. And who knows, on your way there or at the restaurant, you might you might meet someone beautiful that and you spark up a conversation, and next thing you know, bam, you made another connection. So that's being masculine, when you're not concerned and you're not using your gentlemanly ways to get into her pants, because it's not about that. She's gonna like you for who you are in your most authentic, and you're not concerned whether she likes you or not, because you are you. And I know you heard this and you're gonna say, oh, this is regurgitated information, this is the same thing he's saying. That no, there's a difference, because they do it in a coaching. Oh, you do it like this and be alpha and be, because women love a gentleman. No, it's not about a woman liking nothing. It's about that this is what I do. You could be a dude walking behind me and I'm going to hold the door for you. Like, I don't mind calling my homies up and saying, hey, let's go get something to eat. And when they pull and say, oh, we're going to pay half, like most dudes expect one, it makes them feel uncomfortable, some men, and some men will be like, oh, let me pay for half. No, like if I want to pay, that's what that's what my point was. So anyways, and that's the thing, that it's not about the experience. So you could even call your homeboy, and I should have added that to that example, the last example. After that, you could call your homeboy and say, whether you just want to have someone there, just not really a female. If you would just wanted to fucking have a meal with your buddy, and if you're gonna call them, and let's say you're gonna pay for that dinner. If you're gonna pay for that dinner when she goes out, or whoever that, in the first scenario, in the last scenario, let's say you called the, four girls and the fifth one said yeah, and and you get paid. A lot of people will be like, oh, you're a beta, you're not a man, and stuff like that. But if my thing is if you could have your male friend there, and you would do the same thing because you wanted to have the dining experience and not be alone and blah 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 blah. Like if you should be willing to pay for your dude, for your friend. Your best friend, your homie, whatever, your pal. You should be able to just pay and say, no, I got this. And if you're that kind of a man, you're masculine. Because there's no separation. You're not separating because you're not trying to sleep with your homie, and you're not really trying to sleep with her. You just happen to enjoy. This is just who you are. You pay. That's being a gentleman in your term, and not even being a gentleman. It's just that I invited you to the experience, and I'm gonna pay, and that's what it is. Some people say, "Oh, that's a simp move." No, it's not a simp move if there is no, because she could go to her own place. I'm not expecting to have sex. I just wanted someone there to talk to, and it's not even about really having someone to talk to. It's just that I wanted the experience to have someone in front of me while I'm eating my dinner to, talk to. And if I'm going to invite them out, whether it's a male or a female, I'm going to not let them sit there and be me with a nice big old plate of food and be like, well, watch me eat. I just wanted to have the conversation. I don't want to buy you any food. I just wanted you to sit there while I'm eating my food. And because I think you're so freaking beautiful, I want you to sit there and just watch me eat and hear me talk, Why? And then afterwards, I get some pussy, or I get laid. That's literally what men expect, as opposed to, or what that's what they expect now, as opposed to saying it's not even about that. That's where you get the non-care, aspect of it, where women like that. And it is true that women do like the fact that you're not interested in the pussy, or I should stop saying these words because I can't post these on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube and stuff, but they like that because they don't really know, and you're exuding this because they know you're leading. You're not asking. You're just, we're going to go eat here and have this. If it sucks, it sucks, but it's still, you're leading the way, and they're just in there for the ride. And that's what not only I don't want to say women, what anybody likes. Like, what, if you have a homeboy, and it's different for guys, because I could hang out with my homeboys and play dominoes and Texas Hold'em, or play video games for a lot longer, and so can women. So I think it's one of those misnomers that get tossed around a lot, like it's only a male or a female thing. It's not really, like I said, it's not really even about that. But it's when you start using a motive, when you start being a gentleman to a point of, or even if you're saying, oh wow, I don't do that, man, I'm just always a gentleman with everyone. But if you're doing it because you're trying to impress anyone, like, oh, the world's gonna see me as a gentleman, and they're gonna know that like, if there's any of that thought in your mind because you do something, then you're not exuding masculine energy. And this is what I want to get across, that it's just, you can't have it. You can't have that thought and say, I'm a man, I'm an alpha, I have big dick energy, because it doesn't matter. You could, and with the big dick energy, like, you could have, but the thing is that it's being misconstrued. It's in the title, it's in the phrase. It says, I have big dick energy, or he has big dick energy. It's not that. It's something about it. It's the way you're exuding yourself. You're exuding yourself like you have no care. But a lot of these people that use them, they care a lot. They care more than you want to know, because then it'll disfranchise you, and you'll be like, well, why did I listen to him? Why am I paying attention to this person? Because it becomes this fake, and you recognize it, and you recognize it from posts posts that you see on social media, on YouTube, and you start wanting to like comment on stuff and set people right. And that was why the creation of this channel was created, to kind of go away from that, because you're getting two points of view that are completely wrong. And or beta, alpha, sigma, whatever, big, whatever the popular term is just incorrect. Because at the end of the day, masculine energy is just being authentic, being you, being 100%, with no alternative motives. You don't help because you're Superman. You help because it's the right thing to do. You don't help because you're a bodybuilder and you could bench press so much so you're expected to help. No, you help out because you're a little skinny dude and you see some guy hitting a woman, and that's not what needs to be done, or that's not appropriate for a man to do, and you jump in to do what's right. You do what's correct. You do what's expected and what's lawful, and and not even lawful. You just stand up for what's right. And I don't want to get into what's right. We know what's right and wrong. Like we could go down we could just waste a bunch of hours in a discussion of what's right and what's wrong. And it's all individualized. Like, that's why I say because I can't tell you, or if you see a woman, because you might see a woman and think like, well, she maybe deserve it, and it's not tickling your fancy, because it's a deprogramming. So, but so you start there from wherever . So if you see a woman get slapped, it doesn't bother you, but you see your sister get slapped and that bothers you, then, work from there, I guess. It's a weird example, but work from that point. And then you evolve to saying, I don't want anyone to get slapped like my sister, because some people have to internalize it first before they change it. Something has to happen to them before they see it, and that's unfortunate. And then that's, again, another point of my creation for this podcast, is for you guys not to wait to that point where, I have to see it. You have to just understand that it's going to come from your gut. And if you feel something in your gut, then you have to act on it in a genuine fashion with an alternative, with not an alternative motive, because it's the right thing to do. And more times out of none, your gut's going to guide you that way. So us as men have to recognize that and follow that, and be going towards that, because that's where the masculine energy is, where the right from wrong is, where this world needs it, where not just women, forget about the women part, just other men, to be an example and say, look, this is what it is. So you pay for the hangouts with the homies when you invite them. Hey, let's go to Applebee's real quick, bro. Hey, what are you doing, bro? Yeah, I'm hungry, bro, but I don't want to fucking go alone. Let's go grab a feed. Oh man, let's go get some food at Applebee's. Oh man, I don't have any money right now, bro. I got you. Some guys call it bro dating, bro date, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it. The fact is that I then invited you, right? And if I like to pay, then I'm going to pay for my buddy's meal. You know what I mean? If I want to open the door, I'm going to open the door from with no alternative motion, or no alternative, I want to make him look weaker, or I'm going to be above him. No, because if it was an old lady, my homeboy, my mom, the Pope, the president, whatever, it's going to be the exact same demeanor. It's going to be the finest woman in the world, someone that's dropped that gorgeous a 10. I'm sorry, she might have to wait a little bit inside, because I like to open doors at restaurants. So if I have a line back me, I'm going to open she could either stand by me and wait and understand that I'm going to let all these people in and understand my nature, and she's going to follow my lead. Or guess what? If I open the door and she walks in and I notice there's a bunch of people and I open the door, she's going to be waiting on the other side a long time, because I'm going to open it until the last person says, or until someone then offers and says, oh, here, I got it. And I say, oh, thank you so much, sir. Or thank you so much, ma'am. And I walk in there and then, get my date, or get who I'm with, or get my, catch up with my brother, catch up with my uncle, catch up with whomever, catch up with a friend. They're going to be waiting on that side, because that's just who I am. And it's not anything other than that's just who I am. And that's the difference, where there is no and I'm not even trying to show her that I'm this kind of gentleman, because I could give a hell about what she thinks. I'm just doing it because I want to I want everyone to just, that's who I am, and I'm just being genuine, and that's a lot more infectious than you being fake. Because some people are gonna think you're fake, but you can't even think of that. That's the thing. You can't be aware of that. It is what it is. Some people are gonna say, "Oh, look at this guy trying to be righteous and virgin." No, it's not even okay. Think and you'll never know this, and you get into your own mind because they might not, and you're assuming and you're jumping into conclusions in your own head, and it's not. Just be you. Just be genuine in whatever it is. So if you like going to movies and paying for movies, and if you're just doing it with women to get laid, or it's part of your pickup or seduction scheme, then you're not alpha, or you're not male energy. You don't have male energy. You don't have you don't have big dick energy, bro. Like, you're just using that as a way to you're not being genuine. Again, you're being fake. You're not, you wouldn't invite your homeboy and say, "Hey bro, let's go watch this let's go watch The Notebook together, and we're just bros." No, not. I mean, there'll be a little bit of people, a little bit of men that will be and go like, "Yeah, bro, come on, let's go watch I could watch the Notebook with my bro, and just to prove a point." But you guys, it's not like you're gonna go out in a movie theater in public. You might do it in private, but not many will go out and watch a movie. Sure, you could go watch Marvel, the latest Marvel movie. Yeah, you could go see a war story. Oh damn, that was crazy, right, bro? But you ain't gonna go see a chick flick with another bro, one of your bros, because he might think you're coming on to him. Right, so in that case, you're using going to the movies, and even like in this one, and I know I'm using a Notebook, a very old movie, but the point is that you even went to that movie to go and get laid, or to oh damn, it's another, and you hear the joke, oh, another chick flick, but you know what, I want to get laid, and so you're being beta. Or what you call beta, I call it feminine energy, or whatever the male idea of feminine energy, saying, well, I have to give in to this to get this. And as long as you're succumbing to something, you're in a negative mindset, or in a takeaway mindset, or what I define as feminine energy, and that's what feminine energy is. I would like to call it more of a negative energy, but if I use that, it's going to get lost and no one was going to figure it. Your mind will take it to something else as opposed to what it is, and that's why I say it, and it's attached to that. So it's easier to say either beta energy or feminine energy, even though I just consider it negative energy. So I just consider two things. It's either positive or negative. Nothing in between. Other stuff. There's some people that call it God and evil, heaven, or the truth and the lie and stuff like that. I just call it being the positive and a negative, and that's it. And I'm sure there's a teaching out there and blah 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 blah, but that is not my argument to make. There's plenty of that to make out there. My thing is making sure that it's just more easier to explain. But anyways, so for the sake of the conversation, but I'm always going to add that on, because I think it's important to change the terminology that we're using, because it's easy to just call names and attach them to everything now, because it's just a thing to do when no one knows what it means, or they might know a definition but not actually how it feels, or a broader sense of it. So I consider it negative energy, but again, for the thing is just beta and feminine energy. I'd rather use feminine energy, or an idea of males feminine energy, because I don't think we could ever know what it is, even though, because we're taught through society, and sometimes or most of the time in our own experience, but most of the time it's just like what we're exposed to. We're a product of our environment, and like I said, my concern is just the wrong information. So if there's ever anything, and this podcast could take a lot longer than what it is, and I'm not trying, because I had more to break it down, And I can if that's the thing, but I was just thinking about it, and then I'd rather do that in sections, and as the message gets out, hear the questions to it, whether people agree or disagree with it, and then kind of follow up on that, as opposed to just going on and on and on and on and losing people in the message. Is just the point being, in anything, if there's a motive to you, if there's something that you want to get for that action, then you're having negative energy, feminine energy, or beta energy. That's the energy you exuding. If you're doing it because at the core, that is who you're going to do, what you're going to do, no matter what, whether it's in a dating, social, families, whatever it is, if there is no separation, and it is just who it is, no matter who it is, then you're exuding masculine energy. Then you're exuding leadership. Then you're exuding, a stoic state of mind, if you want to call it that. Then you're exuding a very defined way of a path, and that's what is attractive not only to females, that is also attractive to other men. Men will gravitate towards you. Females will definitely gravitate towards you. You'll just notice it, just because you start living by it. I mean, I get that from my gym all the time. And it was one of the funniest things, because I don't go in there. When you see me, you think I'm like this rudest person, because I go in already with my pre-workout audio. I don't do any of that pre-workout powders and stuff like that. And we'll get into fitness in future episodes of the podcast, because it's super important for males to be at least physically active, not bodybuilders, but always be physically active. But so I go in there with my headphones. I'm usually I used to listen to a lot of motivational stuff. I used to listen to a lot of this pump up music, stuff like that. So when you hear it through my, especially like epic music, like sometimes the instrumentals, like Two Steps from Hell, or like soundtracks from Hans Zimmer and stuff like that. Like I listen to that. It gives me that superhero feel in my mind to be able to like work out extremely, extremely hard. So, I mean, I've been going to this gym for for this gym actually for a year, and no one's really talked to me and stuff like that. But every time, and I mean every time, from the first step that I took in that gym to the step that I took to that employee complimenting on something, I always go in there, like I said, with my pre-thing, and I check in. Before, I used to have that, we used to have a card to go into Planet Fitness, and you would kind of scan it in through their barcode, and then now because of COVID, you have to go through the app and you scan it and blah blah blah. So so every time I go in there, I just say hi, how you doing, and they'll tell you, have a great workout after you check in. They do it to everyone, and that's just normal protocol. And a lot of people will confuse that as being nice. And yeah, it's just a courteous, thing. But once people go in there, do what they gotta do, they leave. Yeah, they say bye and stuff like that. And but it's almost like they force it. Like, because I'm leaving, I am this, I have to be this way. And so when I go in there, I'm not going in there and talking to everyone and doing it. So I don't want to give that impression either. I go in there and handle my business, right? And I have an intense workout, and I'm listening to my thing. And I'm telling you, I listen to it pretty freaking loud, which I'm going to regret this when I'm older, I'm sure. Or maybe not, but I have it loud where you could hear it coming out from my headphones, because I have those big old, DJ headphones and stuff. So I'm sure everyone around me hears it. And I don't care. Like, I don't care what they're thinking about me. I'm in there to be the best version of me, to work out, to have a vision of my body and what I'm accomplishing. And I'm literally going in there. You could you could watch me for a month, and if you pay attention to what I'm doing, you'll figure out my routine, my workout routine, exactly, to where people have come up to me and say, "Hey, yeah, I just noticed that today's your chest day or something like that." Or I'll even notice people around me that weren't doing that, like when it's your chest day, when it's your tricep day, or when it's your arm day, when it's your whatever day. And I mean, I don't know about everyone, but me, I remember faces too good. Like, I remember faces from forever. I don't know if I have photographic memory or selective photographic memory, but I remember a lot of faces. So I'll see people, and this is not only females but both men and females, that they'll change the workout to match my workout. And when I first saw them or something, or started seeing they were erratic, they were doing other stuff, but because they saw the changes in me, they're like, okay, they'll start focusing on you, and then they'll start changing. So the next thing you know, you're gonna go do your back day, and guess what? They're doing back also. And you start doing a little 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100, or they see you doing 100 pull-ups and 100 push-ups, and next thing you know, you see them doing 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. And there's that like it just happens. Not that I'm doing anything. I'm just focusing on me and what I see, and because of the energy that I'm pulling off, I'm not judging them. I'm not looking at them or laughing at them because I notice that they might be trying to say or looking my way because I'm lifting us. I'm not assuming they're thinking anything. I'm not. I'm just in there focusing. I know people may do, well, you're talking about it, so you must be, think. No. I mean, I have to be blind not to see it. And maybe they're calling me crazy. Maybe they're admiring my form. Oh, look at him, he's doing it really good. Or look at that dude, he's doing it horrible. They could be thinking both sides of that spectrum. The point is that I don't care. I'm going to, be me. And people gravitate at where I work or what I do. If I notice that if I'm just assertive and just being genuine and everything, people just naturally gravitate. And if you guys knew how many people at my job just gravitate towards me as a center of information, you would think that I was almost like running the joint, and that's just the energy that I bring, because it's not. I'm confident in what I do. I know what I do. I know the work ethic that I do, and it's not coming to prove my boss, and it's not because and you would have to know me. But I put the same effort as to when I'm the least person to when I'm the most person, until I'm old and I can't do it. I've always been that way. People, at some jobs that I had in my past, other men will get upset because they thought I was like brown nosing and, trying to suck up or get a raise, and I'm like, nah. I mean, it was for sure overcompensating for stuff in my childhood, but it was so embedded in me to work and try to work as hard as I could, even from an early age, to work, because also that was part of my the way what I saw as growing up and all that stuff, but. Yeah, it was just who I was. And I learned that wasn't a bad thing. And I started changing it throughout my life. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, in some instances it does, but throughout, I noticed that it's just who I am. I was put in manager positions, and I had bosses tell me they were going to fire me if they saw me working. They wanted me in my office. And just in the office doing office work. Even though I caught up with the work, my work was perfect, nothing late, no write-ups. The fact that they saw me working, but they would see me, and they would, these are other supervisors, and they would get they would like report to my supervisor, like, oh, we're seeing him down, working too much, and just whatever it was that they saw me doing, and they didn't like it because they were too lazy, or because their workers were there and say like, wow, Ricky over there, he's a supervisor and he works. And that gave a bad taste in a lot of people's mind, or a lot of supervisors' mind. Like, oh, what, he's trying to outshine us. And in me, there is no outshining anybody, because I am just being me. It's not about outshining. That's just my work ethic. Again, not that it came off that my work ethic didn't come from a very unhealthy source. It completely did. But I learned to adapt and say, this is who I am. I like having a good work ethic. It makes me feel good to have this work ethic. And I didn't attach it to anything else than being a core value of me, which is working hard. And that's what I do. I work super hard. So I don't care what my title is. If I want to do it, guess what? I'm going to do it. You could fire me and say, oh, he was a supervisor and he wanted to work, but it wasn't because my work quality was down as a supervisor. It's going to get done because you don't like me working. And that's a personal issue. That's not anything to do about my job or my job function. That's just who I am. And a lot of people, can't, even right now as I'm describing this, I'm positive there's a bunch of men saying, well, whatever, this dude is a brown nose, he's just talking. No. It's just who I am. That's just a core value. Again, not saying that it didn't come from a bad place. I'll give you that. It's saying that I adapted it to being a core value. So it's being authentic. Whether you choose to believe that it's bad or whatever, that's not for you to choose or to judge. It's for me to say, this is something that I deemed in me singular, one human being in earth with 7 other ones. If it's core value in me, then I have to make sure that it's that. Yes, in line, like I said, masculine energy is still defined by its whatever that is, masculine energy. You can't really change it too much, because you either going to have that and be striving for that and be mindful of that, or you're just going to use it as a manipulative tool. Because again, when you're doing anything, it's not just in romance, fellas. It's not just, getting with laid and stuff. It's with everything, with our friends, with our habits, with our, bodies, with our work, with our supervisors, with our employees, whether we're employees, with our supervisors. Genuine, and it's not for an alternative motive besides just being a man and having that masculine energy, knowing what you want, seeking what you want, but being honest, being, loyal, being respectful, being a protector, being a leader. All of these things are inherent in being and exuding masculine energy, and that's the energy that we need. So I hope you guys found this informative. Like, share the video, subscribe. Have a good night and be blessed.